Welcome to All Pro Football Data. My name is Jim Coburn, and today's episode, talking about Payton Wilson, linebacker out of NC State, based on his production data profile and other statistical factors. Payton Wilson was first team All ACC in 2022 and in 2023, and today we're going to look at his production data and his other factors, his other statistical factors, to see how he projects at the NFL level. Taking a look at defensive market share scores. If you're new to the channel, new to the stuff that I do, this is how I get defensive market share scores. So you can pause the video to kind of look at that. But this is how we test it. So based on his main production traits, and this is out of 2,999 linebackers since the 1989 NFL draft class, he had a 99.9 percentile solo tackle market share score. That's pretty good. Then he had an 80 percentile sack score, and then a 90 plus percentile tackle for loss score. You don't necessarily need to be a big sack TFL guy, but it'd be better if you did. And he was, in terms of those particular metrics, at the pursuit linebacker position. Looking at his other market share scores, this takes a look at things like forced fumbles, pass deflections, interceptions. He was kind of average in terms of his forced fumble market share, but he was elite in terms of his pass deflection and interception market share. So he did really well in terms of making plays on the ball in the backfield, or not really the backfield, but in the middle of the field. So those are pretty good numbers for him based on that. Now, the issue where things break down for Payton Wilson comes down to his age. Adjusted production scores take a look at the context for the production. How old they were for their production, how the strength of schedule, strength of team, those types of things. And when you look at Payton Wilson based on his adjusted linebacker production, not that great. 5 percentile in terms of his age, 67 percentile in terms of his MSA rating, and 85.43 in terms of his pass rating. So his pass rating is kind of in the starter averages at the position. His MSA rating is more so in the pro, kind of like the Pro Bowl threshold for that. But his age really lowers his overall projection. He's a very older prospect, and I think that can affect things. And how can it affect things? Well, let's take a look at other prospects who tested similar to him based on his age. So these are all the linebackers that tested similar to Payton Wilson in terms of their production, age, and other sort of factors like that. And you have guys like Kasim Green, you have Mike Hull, Akeem Dent, Mike Taylor. Darrell Washington is probably the best or higher quality in kind of prospect for him, because Darrell Washington was pretty decent in the NFL. But this is what you're looking at in terms of comparables for Payton Wilson because of his age. So that's the biggest concern with him, is his age. So I would say Payton Wilson profiles as a backup to starter long term. The biggest factor limiting his grade is, of course, and I want to say it again, I know you're tired of me saying it, but it's his age. Most linebackers with his profile at his age don't translate as well as in the NFL. But based on his production, without taking into account his age, he had high quality outcome potential. So, what I'm telling you is this. Based on his data, he should be considered an all-pro or Pro Bowl level linebacker. When you add in his age, it lowers his overall outcomes to the point where maybe he's more of a starter. Maybe he's more of a Pro Bowler here and there in terms of his data. So those are the big concerns with him, is how late he's really come out in the NFL draft for him. I know there's some other stuff as well, which I'm not going to get into in terms of multiple injuries and different stuff like that. But that's the biggest thing that kind of limits his future potential on an NFL team. It's not to say that you're not going to get anything out of him, because again, in the short term, you could get some pretty fantastic years out of him. But those are the kind of risks going into a prospect like him. Is I think there's very productive but younger linebacker prospects in this particular draft class that have more upside than Payton Wilson, just because again he's an older prospect. Older means that there's potentially less upside because of that. So, with all that stuff out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jim Coburn, also known as Geometrics. You can check out my other work on my Patreon at patreon.com/jcoburn. Also, check out my Twitter, formerly now known as X account at Geometrics. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.